From the studios of DC Concerts in the nation's capital, your host, interviewing the greatest names in racing, as featured in over 25 magazines, as seen on Car Crazy TV, award-winning Hall of Fame, Legions of Honor, Lifetime Achievement Award, multi-time winner Cars Magazine meet, NASCAR to Pro Stock Drag Racer. This is the Sam Oxshire Jr. Show. Let's welcome Sam Oxshire Jr.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Of course, I'm Sam Oxshire Jr., and this is Wayne Meli, and he's representative of Bill Jenkins' former race cars. So, anyway, he's got one or two of them. I can't remember how many, but
we're down to one now.
Down to one, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we were supposed to have Earl on here, but Earl hadn't showed up yet, so we're gonna try and do it without him. But Wayne can handle it. So, all right, let's get on. What's going on with the Nostalgia Pro Stock deals?
We've been moving right along. I tell you, things over the past few years between Mark Pappas and the guys out there in the Midwest, and Jeff and Gina Rudisill down there in North Carolina. Earl kind of got this thing together, been working on it for the past several years, and figured with the Southeast covered and the Midwest being covered, that we needed to do something with all the boys from, NHRA that ran up here in the Northeast. So we've been working on it, and we've got a really good turnout. We've got a lot of just members of the association that just love getting involved and, bringing up their stories that they remember when they talked to Bill, or they remember talking to Ronnie Sox. And little by little, we've been able to get out to these events, to where years ago we started out, it just seemed like it was a car show. And then we kind of moved up a little bit to where we were able to start doing some Cackle Fest with the NHRA and the Heritage Systems. And then I guess it was 2020 when Mark and Sam and Teddy, they all went to Pomona. And next thing you know, we were able to start running that NHRA national events under exhibition status. And which, kind of fast forward the past 5 years, we've been working with the NHRA live events out of California. And we show up at Maple Grove, and we try to bring as many cars as we can get in there. And last year we were kind of lucky. I think we kind of went over quota, but we weren't going to kick it. We put as many cars in there as we could. And now we're, coming up in a couple of weeks, as soon as they're done Indy, we're going to be zooming in out there on Maple Grove. And this year we'll have 4 cars from a little bit parts of the country. Mark Pappas will be coming in with his Rare and Morrison Camaro from Park Ridge, Illinois. Bill White has the Joe Sapmary Camaro Tough Rabbit. He'll be coming in following Mark, I guess. He's in Indiana. And Earl over there just outside of West Virginia, Earl's going to be coming up with the John Theophiles Vega the Greek. And we'll be playing with the home court advantage, seeing how Jenkins spent some time out there around Maple Grove, and shop being over there in Malvern. We'll have the Grumpy's Toy number 10 Tribute Vega. And we're really lucky, because myself, I can't do it anymore. But with my wife, Judy, my neighbor down the street who's always there, Rich Griner, we wouldn't go nowhere if it wasn't for Rich. And having Kevin Robb drive the car every year, him and Michelle, I think they get just as much fun out of it as we do watching it go down the track. So we'll have 4 cars on hand, and according to the schedule right now, we'll be making a run Friday, Saturday, and even on race day, they're going to send us down a track come Sunday.
That's great. It's a shame the guy that owns my Mustang, the '69 car.
Yeah.
He isn't. I don't think he's an hour and a half away, or if that. And I've never talked to him. Whenever I drove it up on stage at Barrett Jackson, got out the car and shook his hand and gave him my card. That's the last I ever seen of him. So anyway,
how long ago was that?
That was 22.
Okay.
Yeah, that hadn't been that long ago.
No, is the Pinot still around?
That went to South Carolina. I've got quite a few of these guys that thought they had money to fix these cars, but come to find out they don't have that kind of money. So they all think it's cheap, you know. So,
yeah, we're I don't want to say we struggle, but you know, over the years working in the automobile and trucking industry, we were pretty good doing what we did. But you know, with the thing with the cars, I mean, you know, NHRA allots us the passes to get, you know, our car, driver, and crew in there. But it's not like we do it for money. We do it for the love of the sport and trying to keep folks, even like you yourself, keep their name out in front of everybody. Because if it wasn't for guys like you and Landy, Sox, the Grump, we might be racing hot air balloons now. I don't know.
Might give it a try anyway.
Yeah.
No, it's good when we see those things because people tend to forget, you know. So, but I know when we've had the Mustang out before, we always had a good turnout for it. So, anyway, it is what it is. So, can't do anything about people that want to put them in the garage and wax them. So, you know.
Come to my house, I'll show you my race car, right?
Yeah, that's basically what it is, you know.
Yeah.
So, when did you become, or when did you actually meet Bill Jenkins?
You know, as a kid growing up, remember him when he'd be at Atco. We were just, you know, one of them little snot-nosed kids on the other side of the fence. But it really wasn't, I want to say, until maybe 2003 was when we really kind of got into it. We were actually getting ready to build a Monza for the youngest daughter. We were going to put her in the Monza and start her out in Super Street. She had went through Doug Foley's drag racing school and got her super comp license. And the very next weekend, we loaded her up, went up to Englishtown and put her in my Roadster. And we got her crossover license, the Super Gas. So I figured, well, you know, we'll build her a nice little Monza. And I don't know, I think we had the car maybe about 3-4 weeks. And she showed up one day and said, "Dad, guess what?" She goes, "I'm pregnant." I went like, okay. So that kind of put the brakes on for a minute or so.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think I was talking to Jake Barbado at one of the races one day, and I said, "You know, I got this Monza." I said, my daughter was going to drive it, but now we're looking up different avenues. I was thinking about maybe building a tribute car to Bill. And I mean, Jake was really cool. He had said something about it to Bill. Yeah. And once it seemed like that, you know, Bill was kind of interested, we hopped in the car, drove 45 minutes, and we were at the shop out there in Malvern. And Bill was good enough to hear us out. And the funny part about it was, out of the different things that he kind of grunt and grumbled about when he was, you know, talking to me about it, he goes, "Well, I don't mind you doing this, but I don't want you using my name to make no money." And I go, "Well, no, we're not looking to make any money. We're just, you you know, we've always followed you as a kid. And, if you want to say that you're one of my heroes, well, then that's why we want to do it. We want to do it as a tribute to you. And I guess not long after that was when we started coming up with a new game plan. And we had the Monza, and a couple times we made trips out there and we bought stuff from him. He goes, well, you know where the stuff is up in the attic. And
Yeah,
we'd
right.
go up. My buddy Rich would go up there and come down looking like a big dust ball. And he'd have all these different parts in the boxes. And he'd go over and say to Bill, well, Bill, this is what we got. And let me see. Look in the box. I said, what do we owe you? Give me $100. Okay. And we load back up and come back to Jersey and, make those parts fit the car.
Right.
And at that point, all of a sudden we realized, this could be fun. We had done some stuff with Jeff Johnson Motorsports, and I guess it was maybe around 2005, 2006, we had the car done. And Tommy Bryan from up there in Englishtown, he had Grumpy's toy, I think it was 14, the match race car with the big aluminum wing on the back. And Jeff Johnson says, there's a drag strip up there in Tioga Center, New York, Skyview Dragway. He said, they want to know if you'll come up there and do some match racing. So I talked to Tommy Bryan. He said, well, he was game. So we loaded up both of the Monzas, went up to Skyview, and actually felt like we were important. We got the pit right there in the staging lanes, and instead of waiting and praying we get a run down the track,
Right.
the folks from Skyview came out and they said, well, if you could make 3 runs and maybe do a little bit of a burn down and simulate a dry hop, and all of a sudden, man, we were hooked.
Yeah.
And we stayed right with it, right on up until unfortunately we did do a couple shows with Bill when Doug Boyce released the book. They had a show out there in Oaks, Pennsylvania, and we took the Monza up there and put it on display. And then we'd come back. I think we had it up to Englishtown. We put it on display up there when Leah Pruitt was actually driving the Dote family Top Fuel dragster, sponsored by Gum Out. And Gum Out had always helped us out all the years racing in super gas.
Right.
And it really worked out good. But once we had that up there, we were pretty much on a roll. I eventually ended up, getting to meet Mark Pappas and Teddy. And then when Mark was able to purchase the real number 10 Vega, and Bill had actually started building a 331 for the car. And then unfortunately, we lost Bill March of 2012. And Jake and the guys, Brett and Mike, they finished the motor up. Mark actually towed the car in from Chicago, and we put it right there in Jenkins' shop, and we used Bill's shop to put the motor in the real number 10 car. And they went back to Ohio, or back to Chicago. And in 2012, when Bill passed away, the Maple Grove Keystone Nationals were running a little bit late that year. I think they actually ran them almost the end of September and October, I believe.
Yeah.
And we had gotten a few cars together. We had Tommy Bryan came up with his car. Mark Pappas brought the real number 10 Vega in. He bought in his Grumpy's toy number 4, the 68 Camaro. I had my Monza there. Don Fazell brought up one of the old Reliable cars.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a real nice tribute to Bill. And after he passed, we just, at that point, Mark and the guys are doing stuff out in the Midwest, and they kind of invented the Grumpy Cup, and they started running out there at Sykeston, Missouri, for the Grumpy Cup race. Jeff and Gina and Southeast Nostalgia Pro Stocks, they were doing their Don Carlton tribute, and next thing you know, there was a lot of Nostalgia Pro Stocks. We were racing them, showing them, doing Cackle Fest, whatever it took to, get the cars out in front of the race fans.
Sure. But what do you think of today's Pro Stock?
I really think I'm gonna make sure I don't do nothing stupid here. I
get rid of your passes real quick.
Yeah. I guess I don't want to categorize them with NASCAR, but when you look at the field and you got 12 Camaros and 4 Mustangs, it's kind of hard to get that individuality to where what used to race on Sunday and win and would sell on Monday, we kind of lost that, I believe. And I think that makes it that much more important that what we do with the cars to where we're at today, to where a car was associated directly with that driver, and the way the races were run back then, it was a true, you could go to the track on Sunday and watch Pro Stock run, and then Monday you could go to the local dealership and see a car minus the decals that looked just like that one you saw go down the track.
Yeah, that's true.
And what they got going on now, again, the technology is amazing. Watching where, everything now with the fuel injection, and you see, it's always like the Greg and Erica show, but now the Quadra boys, everybody's making a good hit with these cars, but it's still, when we go to the show, when we go to Maple Grove last year, we were very fortunate. They pitted us almost directly at the end of where the Pro Stock cars were pitted.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And at any given time, we constantly had people going by and looking at the cars, even when the Pro Stock pits might have been looking a little bit light. And it was such a mass variety of people. I mean, the thing that I love about going to these shows, and when we get the chance to race the cars, everybody's got a Jenkins story. They walk up, they look at the car, and the first thing out of their mouth is, I remember when. And to hear this come out of people 85 years old, and man, they remember watching the Grump, racing with the Grump, maybe out at Lancaster or York. And it's really, really cool. And it makes it seem like it's just that important that we continue to do what we do, so nobody ever forgets exactly how and when the class of Pro Stock originated and what they looked like back in the early 70s. And again, you yourself with your Pinto, your Mustang, there was no other 6 other Pintos out there lined up, but you had a good variety of cars. And I think what we do, and we do it constantly as a tribute, we do it out of our own pocket, because this is how much we believe in the sport. And we believe that the younger generation, if they're running a junior dragster, then they need to be educated just how about that junior dragster came into play. And there was a lot of cars that went down the track before Vinnie Knapp ever decided to build the junior dragster.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Oh, it's the thing I don't understand is the Ford body and the Chevy engine, or
Chevy engine, yeah.
That's sort of crazy to me, but
And you
Yes.
got Don Krasinski. I mean, that guy, the only real Mopar out there that continues to try and, make the field and get down the track. But it's, but I give the guy a lot of credit because he's still flying the Mopar colors under the hood.
There you go. I don't know. I guess somehow it works out. It's just the popularity sort of goes a little bit downhill when the cars and the body, the engines are mixed
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
I don't know.
considering how it was designed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sort of. But anyway, we don't make the rules, so
No, not at all. We just do our best to abide by them.
right. We try.
Yeah, yes, sir.
We're always trying. Yeah, I don't know about that part. But anyway, yeah, Bill. I remember Bill very well, and me and Bill always got along, and we never had any issues. And Bill, the 2 times the Cars Magazine deal, we ran in the finals, and he never came over and said congratulations, but that's just Bill. I don't, you got to understand Bill, and I
Sure.
don't blame, I wouldn't have went over there either. So, but anyway, he was, when you could really just get him off to the side and talk to him, my God, he was, first class guy with a whole lot of knowledge, ton of knowledge.
Yeah. I still look at some of the old posters that I have when it showed early model doing a gas port on a piston, or the caveman design when they made the very first dry sump oil pan and tank, and the vacuum pumps. So much that was, back in the late 60s, early 70s, and yet they're still on the cars today. So I'm sure, Bill had a crystal ball on all that.
Oh yeah. He was super knowledgeable, and I don't know how he would have done with the fuel injection, but I don't think it'd been any different. But his carburetor knowledge was out of sight. He, I talked to him one day about. I mean, he went on and on and on about carburetor.
Yeah.
I want to say, Bill, I just wanted one thing. That's all.
Yeah, and it's funny because you'd either get a 1-word answer, or you get a 20-minute dissertation, one or the other.
He was a great guy, really.
Yeah. I really look back that had it not been for Jake, Brett, and Mike getting involved, knowing Mark Pappas, that the opportunity to really get to know Bill and just kind of be there in his shadows, I don't think that would have never ever happened. So I really feel blessed and honored that, when I walked in to Pennsylvania Avenue over there in Malvern, that he didn't kick me out. So I kind of felt that I was having a pretty good day,
He didn't give you the boot,
No, it was, but yeah, he was, I love talking to him because, like you said, you could just hang on every word because the knowledge and, everything that he did, like how many people, going to cut a couple carburetors in half, then put them back together again. But, if Bill thought that there was, an advantage to it, then he was going to do what it takes to make it happen.
Exactly. We got some listeners from, let's see, we got one here from Mark Scott from down under there. We got a good group here from around the world here, I guess. So,
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's a pro stock fan of when back in the day they used to look like real cars.
Yeah, right. Exactly. When they used to be cars, but anyway. So what's the schedule for Maple Grove?
As of right now, they've got us set up for 3 runs, and naturally that's all subject to Thames being involved with the a national event. But what I was looking at, it looks like on Friday they have us scheduled. It looks to be approximately 2:05 Nostalgia Pro Stock exhibition. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I believe it's going to be one either right before the second qualifier or the third qualifier of the pros. And then on Sunday, I believe it's going to be right after first round. But once again, everything is subject to change, but I'm really happy that they're going to give us one on Sunday. I mean, because I can remember running Super Gas. You had to go 7-8 rounds, and you had to do at least 5 of them on up till Saturday. So if you lived the race on Sunday, that was really a big day, So getting the opportunity to have Kevin and the guys take the car down the track on Friday, Saturday, then again Sunday. I think it's really going to be cool. The fact that of all the places with NHRA as they change their format, I don't think that there was much pro stock being run at any of the events so far this year. So I feel very honored that we get to take the cars to the House of Chaos and be there with our man Kenny. And not to change the subject from Bill, but people look at Kenny Koretsky. He's a land mogul. He does so much. But I remember Kenny the year that he qualified his Camaro in pro stock and his top fuel dragster at a national event. That was unheard of back then.
Yeah.
And Kenny, the Kyle and his sister, they're doing an excellent job with the track, the changes that they're making, the programs that they're offering to not only give everybody a place to race, but I mean, it's a business and you got to be profitable if you're going to be in business. And come time to bring in, the national event, again, for us to be able to just be a tiny part of that and have the people that are over there watching Greg Anderson and the Quadra Boys and Double E, them go down the track, and then they find their way over to us. It's just, I don't know how to put it. My wife thinks I'm crazy doing this all these years, but again, I do. I do it for the love of the sport, and all the guys that do it. None of them decided to build old pro stock cars for money. It's everybody's way. Everybody had their special driver, and it was just a way of paying homage or tribute to the drivers. A few of them that were still around. I mean, unfortunately, we lost Joe Lapone at a very young age. We lost Don Carlton. We lost Lee Shepard. But every now and then, even Larry Lombardo will come out from under the covers, and we get to see Larry, him and Sharon. They'll come up to the races, and it's good because if they're taking the time to come over and just look at the cars, hopefully it kind of takes them back real quick to when they remember when they drove the car and how the class was compared to the big moguls that it's become today.
Yeah, I see Jason Lyon is big time engine guy down there now. I don't know if he works for Hendrick or he works for, I don't remember.
He was doing something last year. We went down. We kind of made the trip down after Pat Musey's brother Ralph moved down to Mooresville and pretty much went back to work with Pat. And it was just unfortunately at that point in time when Lizzie was diagnosed with cancer. We went down to Mooresville and we spent some time with Pat and Ralph, got to see their facility, went over to Matt's place over there at MBE and see the amazing CNC work that they do with these intake and heads. And then right there where Pat's shop is, it's right off of Performance Row. So we kind of went around and, you could see there was the old Hogan manifolds where they made the intakes there.
Yeah.
And we came up on Greg Anderson's shop. And it was right around the time that I think Camry Caruso had come in under his wing. And he was outside. So Ralphie and I stopped and we probably spent a half hour talking with Pat or with Greg. And it was crazy because I said, how's Jason doing? He goes, you just missed him. He just left here 10 minutes ago. And it's really cool because the Line family, when they would go up to Minnesota, it would be like a big family reunion. They'd bring out the Buicks and everything else that they had. And now I actually text Jason, I guess last week, I think was his birthday, maybe 2 weeks ago. I sent him a happy birthday. And I asked him if he was going to be at the Maple Grove. And I believe he's going to be at Maple Grove. And I believe he's out there at Indy right now, going to be running one of them Hemi cars, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
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 But yeah, he's, it's really cool. Again, you look at some of the pictures back when KJ and Greg looked like kids and they were Warren's crew. And, fast forward, now you look at Greg and Jason's kind of, learning off of Greg. It's good. It's really good to see that Jason is doing well for himself and his family. He's into I don't know the whole deal, but I've seen some of the pictures of the intake manifolds and heads that they're working with, and it's really a good thing.
It's the stuff they do now is just unbelievable. The CNC work and smarter than we are. That's the crazy part. Jeez.
First time I saw a CNC machine, Tommy Martino, Tommy Kling, naturally, they were working at Jessel, and they were doing stuff with Vonnie and Eddie Mills when they started dabbling with comp. And Eddie called me one night, it was about 11 o'clock, and he goes, what are you doing? And I said, nothing, what's up? He said, you think you could run down to Lakewood? And I went, it's 11 o'clock at night, what's up? He said, well, Tommy's got an intake manifold down there he wants us to try. So I said, well, who's going to be where at 11 o'clock? You just go to Jessel, knock on the door, they'll let you in. I went, okay. So Judy and I hopped in the car, took a ride down to Lakewood. And when we went into this massive building, it was like a hospital. But there was nothing but these CNC machines. And, man, they were spitting out the belt drive, the front stuff never ever seen before.
Yeah. It's the stuff they are manufacturing.
Yeah.
We never had anything close to that. We had a hammer and a welder.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. And everybody had one.
Right. Everybody had one. Crazy.
Oh my God. Again, it just shows, inventions, whatever you want to call them, but as things continue to move forward, the technology that allows us to go forward. I mean, I'd rather have a problem with a CNC machine rather than be them poor astronauts that went up to outer space for 8 days and now they're going to be there for 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah, not me.
No. I'll just sit in the back quietly and watch them CNC machines dance.
Yeah, you got that one right. Wow. Well, I guess we better wrap it up. Uh, and hopefully, some of you guys that are listening, or girls, whatever, take a trip up to Maple Grove. And it's always a great show there, regardless of what you went for. It's absolutely one of the best tracks in the country. And you better go there because Lord only knows these tracks are disappearing. Like uh, we lost Atco and lost English Town. I mean, to me, that was
Sad.
backbone of the East Coast there. So
Yes, sir.
crazy stuff. So anyway, Wayne, you got any last words of wisdom?
I really appreciate you taking the time to give us the opportunity to come on here and talk a little about the craziness that we're involved with. I really hope that people do take the opportunity, come up to the track. Uh, Naturally, I'm not for sure exactly where we'll be pitted, but come on up, go look at the cars of today, and then come on over and find us and look at the cars that started it all. And
Yeah.
we'll be there. We'll be more than happy to talk to you, show you whatever we can show you, and just try to do our little part to keep pro stock racing alive and well in NHRA.
There you go. And also, I want to say in the next couple of weeks, we should have John Clore from Ford Motor Company on here.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's always interesting, Mr. Clore. He'll take over the show. There's no problem with that. So well, we'll hear what he's got to say. Something
That'll be
new and
great.
exciting, I'm sure. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, definitely. Sure. See how many times he's got to get off the phone with Bob Tasca, I'm guessing, seeing how Bob's carrying that big blue oval.
Yeah, right. Yeah, listen to Bob and his. Oh my goodness, you can no trouble telling what New England accent he has.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
He's he's a character. But anyway, all right, everybody, we're gonna sign off from here, and I'll see you in a week or two or whatever. Whenever my
Yeah,
little
we'll probably roll up there the 11th, get up there on a Wednesday afternoon and find out exactly where we're going to be and stake out 4 pieces of real estate, and all the guys will be in. And like I said, hopefully the folks come out. And again, I just want to give a special shout to all the guys that keep doing this, Jeff and Gina, the Southeast Nostalgia Pro Stock Association, Mark and Teddy, and the guys out there out of Chicago, the Midwest Nostalgia Pro Stock, and our group, to where our fearless leader is lost in action somewhere. But Earl Redden put together the Mid Atlantic Nostalgia Pro Stock Association, and we're just doing whatever we can do to help Earl and keep the pro stock history of what exactly we do in the sport of drag racing alive. And again, Sam, thank you very much, because if it wasn't for the folks like you, we wouldn't have anything to do.
there you go. We'll keep you busy.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, everyone. Thank you again for listening, and keep tuned. We'll have some other shows coming up here soon. Thank you again.